I will now request Honorable Chairperson Srimati Aruna Jayanti to deliver her address.
Distinguished Chief Guest Padma Shri Professor Govardhan Mehta, Director Professor Chakrabarti, members of the Board of Governors and the Senate, members of faculty and staff, dear students, graduates, family members, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this 12th convocation of NIT Calicut. Standing from here, you cannot imagine what an impressive sight this is, to see all of you here and to see the family members here. You should, you know, when you come up to receive your degrees, you should turn around and look at the crowd and see what an impressive sight is it. It's a very proud moment for everybody. I know this is a very solemn, ceremonial event, but at the same time, I do recognize that it's a big milestone in each one of your lives, and something that I hope you will cherish for the rest of your life. I can tell you from everything that I've seen of the Institute, this is my 3rd convocation here. I can tell you that you've made a good choice in choosing to study here, and parents, you've made a good choice in sending your child here. And I think all of us can be very proud that you have graduated from NIT Calicut. Congratulations for that one. Before I move further, I'd like to briefly introduce our chief guest today. So I think all of you have a printed copy of the speech, and there you will find a very formal introduction to Professor Mehta. But having spent the last hour or so with him, talking to him on the way here to the Institute and later on here within the Institute, I can tell you that what is written in that document doesn't do any justice. So I will try and introduce him in my own words, and you can of course read what is written about him later on. So as you know, he's Padma Shri, he's a chemist. Okay. And he was talking to me about some of the research that he is currently doing, and I'll tell you one thing, all of us need his research to be extremely successful. Okay. As we all grow old, you know that our cognitive abilities diminish, and the research that he's doing is truly cutting edge, which really looks at how we can improve that. So let's wish him all the best for his research. It will be of value for all of us. Okay. A little more about him. He's the University Distinguished Professor at the University of Hyderabad, and he's the Dr. Kalam Anjireddy Chair Professor there, doing some, as I said, cutting edge research. But also the other side that I discovered about him is that he's very different. I don't know how else to say it. Okay? I think you will hear it when he talks later on. But he is, not one who stands to ceremony or stands for bureaucracy. A very strong and independent thinker with strong views, and I think you will find his talk later on quite inspirational. And I apologize, I'm not going to do a full introduction to him, but you can read it. Just be sure that he's one of the most distinguished professors, researchers in this country, who has been recognized not just in India but also from various international countries. So now a little bit about the Institute. I'm sorry, but I don't have, I find it sometimes difficult to follow a scripted speech. Okay, so don't look at those books that you have. Okay, I'm going to deviate slightly, as you saw from also the introduction of Professor Mehta. So first, a little bit about the Institute. You've heard a report from Professor Chakrabarti. I think I've seen that in the last 3 years that I've been here, the university has, the Institute has made quite a bit of progress. And it's really wonderful to see the focus on things like outcome-based education. It's wonderful to see the focus on tying up with the corporates, with the organizations, to bring the industry much closer to the academy. I think that's a win-win for everybody. I can tell you, being from the corporate sector, the amount that we gain from, we crave we actually crave to have associations with the country. And our success, to a large extent, is also measured by to what extent do we collaborate with the universities, with institutes, because I do believe strongly that while we do a lot of work, some of the new thinking, the cutting edge work happens at the universities. You have the equipment, you have the funds, there is so much that you can do, and it is so important for industry to depend on you. At the same time, you can live in an isolated utopian world if you don't actually test out the ideas with the industry. So I think it's a win-win for everybody, and I'm truly pleased to see the direction that the Institute is taking in terms of tying up, getting much closer to the industry. I think it will be extremely beneficial for everybody. The other point is around what I have seen here around the strength of the faculty and the commitment of it. Everybody here knows that we are short-staffed, both in terms of the faculty, staff, and it's truly commendable to see the work that all of them do here in order to ensure that your education, the work, the research here doesn't suffer at all because of lack of any resources. I think that the commitment here, I'm truly impressed by the team here and the drive to make this a very successful institute. So really, you need to give a big hand for the faculty of the institutes. I think they've really made this a great place to be in. Okay. I think the vision that has been defined for this institute is to be international standing of the highest caliber. There's a lot that has been done, but clearly that vision, as somebody once said to me, that vision without execution becomes hallucination. Okay, so I hope that's not where we'll end up. Okay, but I'm fairly confident that with the steps that we are taking in the years to come, this will truly be an institute of international standing. And I look forward to all your support, even as you are leaving the institute, to come back to that. Professor Chakravarti talked about the alumni meet that was in Goa a couple of months ago. I too had gone for that one, and I was really, it was very motivating to see the alumni of NIT Calicut, where they have reached, what they've accomplished, and their pride in having come from this institute. But I did challenge them that it's nice to be proud, it's nice to say that you're from NIT Calicut, but you're not doing enough for the institute. So I challenged them, and I hope you all take that mantle and do something back for that. But I did challenge your previous batches that, come back to the institute and start to contribute. It's not just about money, it's about so many things. It's about projects, it's about, building the brand of this institute, and I think there's a lot that alumni can do. I told your previous batches that, and I hope you remember that too as you go out into the world. Now, a word for, I'm not sure what advice I can give you as you go. You have already got, what, 3-4 months I don't know whether I should call it real world. This is the real world as well. But let's say in your working experience, I think you're already there now for 3 to 4 months. You have had a taste of what it means, to move out of academics into the real world. But from my perspective, let me tell you the 3 or 4 things that I see happening and what I believe is extremely important for all of you all. Okay? Number one is that I think the work as we know it is changing. Okay? I truly question what is the future of work. And let me explain that, okay? So today, no matter where you go, no matter which industry you go, there's one word that dominates, the discussions at all levels of an organization, and that is automation. Okay. In my industry, where I come from, we are talking about maybe 60-70% impact on, of automation. It's the same with manufacturing sector. The percentages can vary, but there is no doubt that there is a huge impact of automation on work. It has been there through the years, but I think we are almost now at an inflection point where it is going to be much, much more, and technology is progressing at a rate that you start to question what is really the role of, what is the kind of work that machines will do, robots will do, versus what each one of us will do. And I think you truly have to examine what how you want to develop your career in the light of that one. Whether people talk about digital, people talk about automation, they talk about data, and I think it is increasingly becoming a data-driven society, and the nature of work is changing, and therefore, unless you are absolutely on top of your work, on top of your subject, I think there is a serious risk that you will become obsolete. Okay? So I don't mean to sound scary, okay, but I think you recognize that. I mean, you open the paper and then you will see it. Okay, what is the future of work in every industry? And of course, maybe India is a little bit behind in that sense, but clearly, we will catch up. It's a matter of a couple of years or a few years. So it's not a question of if we will do it, but it's a question of when we will do it. So I think, you have to think for yourself what that future stands for you. The second part, which is on top of mind for me and for a lot of other people in the industry, is about sustainability. Okay, what is it that we're going to do to make this society, this earth, sustainable, when you talk about preserving natural resources in every single thing that you do. I was visiting one of our customers' factories last week, and they talk about redesigning manufacturing processes to eliminate waste. They talk about zero waste factories. Okay, and you look at some of the waste that we generate around us, not just in our daily lives, but also in the production methods. And I think as technologists, as engineers, as science graduates, I think there is something that you have to do to truly start looking at the whole, how technology is used to make a zero waste environment and preserve the limited natural resources that we have. I can tell you that is an extremely hot topic. Number 3 is about what I see a lot, which I hope many of you will go for, is about being entrepreneurs. Okay, there's a lot of opportunity out there. If you look at the topic that I just spoke about, for example, in terms of sustainability, I mean, there is so much scope for untapped potential out there that young entrepreneurs can leverage and do something about. So I hope many of you have ambitions to go do a startup. I don't know, are there any young entrepreneurs here, or all of you working? Okay. So I do encourage many of you to pursue that the path of becoming entrepreneurs. And finally, I'd just like to conclude by saying that I saw, first, as I was walking up the red carpet out here, I saw, there were placards out there, and I saw one that said, let the schooling not interfere with your education. I thought that's a very nice statement, but I sincerely hope that, on the contrary, NIT Calicut has made a profound impact on your education, and that it will not stop even when you leave this institute, even after you have left it. Because if there's one thing that I firmly believe in, I think I graduated 30 years ago. Okay, so one thing that I've learned in the last 30 years is that education is never complete. Every single day. This morning I look at something, I learn it. Okay, I learned about something new that our competition is doing, and there's a new technology, and there's a new way of doing something. I tell you, if you have to think every single day. Every single day you have to think about, what have I learned today? And how am I going to improve my skills, my knowledge, my contribution to society? If not, I think you will be in a difficult place. Now, having said that, I hope all of you have an extremely successful career in whatever you do, whether it's working for somebody, whether it's working on your own. I hope all of you, more than that, all of you become extremely successful individuals. There is more to success than work. I hope each of you become very successful in your own rights and personally have a very satisfactory life. And finally, I hope that all of you remember NIT Calicut for the rest of your lives and come back and contribute to this great institute. Thank you very much.